Pause and practice activity Excel 2-1. Click on the Rentals Day tab to select that sheet. And you're going to go ahead and we're going to add a formula. So we're going to click on cell D23. And we're going to start off our formula with the equals. Equals is always an indicator of a formula. We're then going to click on cell D7. What this does is it will insert the cell reference into our formula. We'll go ahead and add a plus so we can add something to that. We're going to select D15 here. This is another Minnesota entry, and we're going to do plus once more. And we're going to select D19. Go ahead and press the Enter key to finish up our formula. We'll next do the same thing for Wisconsin. So we'll go ahead and click in D24, press the equals key, and we'll click on everything that is Wisconsin. So that'll be D6 plus D8 plus D10 plus, I think that is it. Go ahead and take the plus off of here. One thing I wanted to show before I finish the formula, if you can look here, the colors here within our formula for the cell reference are associated in the sheet as well. This can make it easy to see exactly what you're doing when you're creating complex formulas. So I'll go ahead and I'm just going to press Enter here to finish up our total. Next, we're going to go ahead and do what's known as a 3D formula. 3D refers to using data from another sheet. I already moved to the rental income sheet. So we're going to go here to cell E5, and we'll do another equals to start a formula. I'll select D5, and then I'm going to do a multiplication here. I'm going to go to the rates tab, sheet, and we're going to go up here and look in the formula bar and notice that it's already inserted rates exclamation point. What this refers to is we are now on the rates sheet. The exclamation indicates we need a cell reference after this. So we're going to do cell reference D5. So that's our rate. We'll go ahead and press Enter, and we'll move back to the other sheet. I'll go ahead and I'm going to click on here, and you'll see now that that formula is the same as what we were working on just a moment ago. Go ahead and we'll copy all of these down to these other rows. And what I want to do is click on this one and then click on the next row down. I want you to notice that the row here changed to the next higher number, and as we go down, this will continue doing this. This is known as relative addressing. As we move on our rows, or even if we move from column to column, they will change appropriately to indicate that column being used. Next, we're going to format this. So I'm going to select E5 through E19. We're going to then go to the Format, a dialog box. We'll come under here to the number group, click the launcher. We're going to choose currency, and we want no decimal points. So we'll turn that off, click OK. We're going to do another 3D formula. And we're going to use the profit and loss sheet for this. I'll start off on B5. We'll type equals sum. I'll press the tab key, and you'll notice that it added a parentheses to the end of that to allow us to continue putting our cell references in. We're going to go to the rental income sheet. We'll select E5 and E6. This is for the states of Illinois. We'll press enter, and it completes our formula here for us. Go ahead and I'm going to do this for each of the other states. Now that that's completed, let's go ahead and do our next step. And that's where we're going to use an absolute reference. So make sure you're on the profit and loss sheet. We'll select B14 and we'll go ahead and do an equal. Select B10, the total revenue. And then if you watch up here on the formula bar, if I press the F4 key, it adds a $ in front of the column and row references. The $ indicates make this an absolute reference. Let's go ahead and we're going to add a multiplication symbol here. And we'll select H5 for our rate. Press enter. And there's our registration and local fees value entered. Let's go ahead and check on the formatting for this. If I select that and I go up to our number group, you'll see this is accounting. I want to make a slight change to that, so I'm going to go to the dialog box where it says symbol here. I'm going to change that to none to take the $ away. And we'll go ahead and we're going to copy the formula to our open cells here. We're next going to do some cell range naming. So I'm going to select cells A10 and B10. Excuse me, A10 and B10 here. Let's move down, hold the control key down so we can select multiple ranges. And the one other area. We're then going to create names out of these. So we'll go to the Formula tab, and we'll go to the Define Names group. Choose Create from Selection. We're saying use the value in the left column of our range as the name for our named ranges. Click OK here. Now if I go up here into the name box, and I click the drop down arrow, we can see that there are 3 areas that have already been named. If I click on one of these, it will move the cursor to that particular range for us. And that range was the value to the right of the name. Let's move back to cell B29. And we're going to use one of these names in our formula. So we'll type equals and then start typing 2. And in our pop-up box, we'll get a couple of values here for our named ranges that we inserted just a bit ago. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to double click on total revenue to choose that. We're then going to subtract a value from that. It'll be another total, which in this case is total expenses. Go ahead and press the enter key. And if you look at this, it has a formatting of general. And let's go ahead and change this just a bit to get rid of these extra decimal points. So I'll come up here to the number group and do a decreased decimal for that. And let me go ahead and I'm going to now change this to an accounting format. So I'll do that here. Look at that. Notice how it brings back the decimal point. Now that's because the accounting format has 2 decimal points. I can go ahead and I can decrease this again. We'll next move on to do our profit margin in B30. Go ahead and we'll do equals again, and we're going to be looking for our income before taxes. So I type IN, double click that, and we're going to divide this in order to get a percentage. So let's type total here, and we're going to do total revenue. Go ahead and press the enter key. And let's turn this into a percentage. Go up to the number group, click the percentage, and this turns this into 39%. Now we're going to move over to the break-even sheet. And let's get there. Sometimes you create errors in your sheet, and an error is indicated by a little triangle in the upper left-hand corner of a cell. If I click on that cell, you notice this little yellow triangle with an exclamation point in it. That indicates there is an error. If I click the down arrow here, or down arrow, it'll show us what our error is. In this case, it's saying the formula is omitting adjacent cells. So let's go ahead and try to figure out what is included in this in order to create our error. And we're going to use a feature called trace precedence. So what this is going to do is it is going to look backwards from this cell to find out what other cells it pulls data from. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the Formula tab, and we'll go to the Formula Auditing group, and there is a button for Trace Precedence. So what this does is it says these cells here, surrounded in blue, are being used in cell B10 in this case. To resolve this error, we can use that pop-up box again, and we can just say update formulas to include cells. In this case, you can see we should be including this value as well, and this will do that for us. I could go ahead here and do trace precedence again, and now it shows all of those cells as part of our formula. We can get rid of this here by coming up to our Formula Auditing group and press Remove the Errors. And we're going to do one more formula. So we'll select cell C23, and we're going to do a break-even rent formula. So I'll type equals here. Take the total here. We're going to divide this. We're going to divide this by a group. In this case, we're going to use a number of ones, and we're going to subtract B10. So that'd be subtracting 43% from this. Press enter. Let's go back and look at the formula here. What we're doing here is we're using a mathematical order of operation. This goes back to a term called PEMDAS, which means we do everything inside the parentheses first. We would then do mathematical division, addition, subtraction, in that order. So that's what it does here, is it first evaluates the 1 minus B10 and then does the division. Okay, this ends this pause and practice activity.